Go ahead and pre-order the limited edition rash guard celebrating the 100th episode of the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast before the 18th of September. Yes, this is a limited edition rash guard in collaboration with Adapt Jiu Jitsu. Head over to the secret link adaptjj.com/collections/unreleased to order yours today. You're listening to the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast, and I'm Lou Temlett. I'm guessing you're having a good day because either you've been on the mats, considering getting on the mats, or maybe you're wanting to find a martial art for your child. I'm so happy you're here listening or watching this episode. Please don't tap out before the end. When you want to pass the time of the day and night, start training jiu-jitsu. I'd like to welcome Paul Skivington to my podcast. Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. We have probably quite a number of things to talk about, but it is an incredibly hot day. So let's get through this. Paul, you have kind of started training when you were 40. I know some of us start training in our later years and wish we'd found it earlier. But talk me through your journey, where you started training and kind of where you are up to now.
So I started training about 7 years ago at Gracie Barha in Yeovil, and I started training because I wanted to find a martial art for my daughter to do. I stepped on the mat and haven't stepped off. Basically, I'm still standing.
I love that, and I love seeing your posts and stories and reels, and it's always a pretty heavy session whenever you're involved. I feel sorry for your teammates, to be honest, Paul.
Oh no, we get after it for sure.
Good, and it's kind of making the most of that time that we do have on the mats. Now, you, having started when you were 40, prior to that, you were very competitive in the sports world. Talk to me about that.
So after losing a leg, I lost a leg age 23. I didn't play any sports, and then probably aged around 30, I found golf. And the beauty of golf is it has a handicap system, so a disabled person can play an able-bodied person on and have a decent match.
Yeah.
I did that. I was a boxing coach. I broke my arm, so I had to give both those up. Jiu-jitsu came along just at the right time, and I haven't looked back.
How, if anyone wants to kind of discover more, I know you've got a YouTube channel, Paul, with kind of the history and a lot of the story, but let's talk about the competitive aspect of jiu-jitsu primarily, but kind of stepping back with the golf and the boxing, because it feels like you've got something kind of, there's a fire inside that drives you for this competitive edge.
So when I had children, my son, who's now 17, I found myself talking a lot in the past tense. When I used to do this, I was in the army, I used to jump out of planes, all these kind of things. And one day I just realized I'm not doing myself or him any favors by always looking back.
Yeah.
So I sort of made the decision to, change my life and, make a new story.
I love that. And I think having that awareness, I do a lot of HR kind of personality preference in coaching, and understanding that someone is talking very much in the past or the present or the future, and knowing they're quite fixed in their mindset, and then kind of coaching them and helping them to be able to shift and develop something new for their life. Were you just listening to yourself and just noticed, or did you have any kind of awareness from an external source to know that you were very much referencing things in the past?
No, I think my army service was my whole identity.
Yeah.
And then when I left, it was still my identity. And to a certain extent, it is a large part of my identity even now. And I've been out a long time. But no, I think you go for the the recovery process of getting over losing a limb
Yeah.
and the new you, the new normal.
Yeah.
But I think having a child, and the story we tell ourselves is very important. But when I was telling it to somebody as influential as my own child, I
Mm.
realised that the story had to be. It can't be about the past. It's got to be. I know I've got to lead by example. I've got to show
Yeah.
my kids that okay, this has happened. So what? Crack on.
Yeah. I think that's really important when you're sharing your story and you can actually hear yourself. And they're such influential beings. You talk about identity, about being in the army, but equally, when I've spoken to other guests, the identity of being a parent, it kind of gets lost. And there's kind of lots of phases of life. And being a parent is one of them. But also finding ourselves again
Yeah.
is equally quite important, extremely important, because if we're not serving ourselves to the best of our ability, how can we serve and influence others, particularly our children? How do you think his life and your children's lives have changed because of that newer mindset and the forward thinking, positive outlook?
Well, I also realised pretty early on that you can say what you like, but children might not listen, but they'll watch. They'll watch what you do. They watch how you behave.
Yeah.
So that's why I work out. I keep myself fit and strong. I just try and set a good example.
Yeah.
And I talk the talk, and hopefully try my best to walk the walk, and
Yeah.
hopefully my children will pick up on that, and they will not make the mistakes I've made, and lead fulfilling, good, honest lives.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Talking and saying things, but if you're not following up with doing those things, then you might as well say nothing. So
Yeah,
it sounds absolutely fantastic that you are demonstrating and modeling that behaviour of wellness, fitness, and
yeah.
competitive spirit. But let's kind of return to that competitive kind of fire and edge in golf and now in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Well, I think that's you know just who I am. I mean, it's not necessarily the will to win. It's the putting myself out there.
Yeah.
So competing as a white belt and a blue belt in able-bodied divisions. As a middleweight, because I got to lose 5 kilos by taking my leg off. But no, in all seriousness, just getting amongst it. And
Yeah.
I don't really care about the win, the loss. I mean, obviously, I like to win, and
Yeah.
I'm winning at a high level now. But it's more about being uncomfortable, showing my kids, my family, my friends, and
Yeah.
to a certain extent, my social media following that. Just get amongst it.
Yeah.
For example, it's a jiu-jitsu match. You lose, so what? You
Yeah.
learn, but you learn something. And that's great. And I like competing. I like being part of a competitive club, like my home
Yeah.
school, Invictus BJJ. Like some cracking members, cracking coaches,
Yeah.
and jiu-jitsu brings the best out. I think it brings the best out in you.
I
Eventually, do you know what I mean?
I agree. There's a lot of learning to be done, especially kind of in the early days, early years, shall we say, of white and blue, maybe even beyond. I'm still talking from a blue belt experience, and but it sounds also really important that you're able to train and compete with able-bodied individuals. That there is no kind of differentiation. You are in with the mix. You're getting on with it. You're showing up with your skills and abilities, regardless of any differences. And I think that's the joy of jiu-jitsu as well. That it doesn't matter what size, shape, disability, whatever other um, thing that is different about us, even our hair color to a certain extent. And I'm not going to go there with height because I'm too short to fight the really tall people. But it just brings us all together. What has been your most kind of, I don't know, joyous moment throughout your jiu-jitsu journey?
Well, I've obviously won the world, which was pretty special. My wife was out in Abu Dhabi to watch that, so that was amazing. I've been very successful at the Rio competition. You know, one of the
Yep.
UK's only Para Jiu Jitsu comps.
Yep.
But you know, for me, it's like I said, it's not about the winning and stuff. It's when I first started Jiu Jitsu, it was completely left field. You know, I was embarrassed to take my leg off when I
Yeah.
get to the jiu-jitsu school, put my leg in the corner and I'd shuffle on my bum and, you know,
Yeah.
get amongst that. A really cool training partner when I first started. Shout out to Camille. But now, I don't give a shit. Legs off, hop on the mat, hop around, stomps out,
Yep.
stomps in my opponent's neck. You know, it's given me a completely new lease of life. So
Mm.
to pick one moment, I can't. But just the all around, and I don't even want to say confidence, but just like the comfort in myself, the comfort in my
Yeah.
own body.
Yeah.
You know, I used to be really conscious about my stump. You know, I'm an above knee
Yeah.
amputee. I've got this fleshy thing that hangs out under my gi,
Yeah.
but I don't care now. And you know, my opponents don't care because you know it's just who I am. You know, if
Yeah.
I had like red hair or green hair, that would be who I am. But for me, it's just Paul's got
Yeah.
one leg, and
Yeah.
you know my training partners, you know they respect me. We have some good training sessions together, and in all fairness, they're all very accommodating of my disability. Which
Yeah.
even though I'm a brown belt, you know they have to be. There's a lot of things I can't do,
Yeah.
but from white belt all the way to my coach Wojciech, you know they will accommodate me and help me out, and you know I'm exceptionally
Yeah.
grateful for that.
I'm so pleased you didn't name one joyous moment because, you know, maybe like many of us, you've got that wealth of, I don't know, comfort, freedom, confidence, all of those amazing things that jiu-jitsu brings us. Um, when you started out as a white belt, Paul,
Yeah.
what did you think you could achieve? Did you have any vision for your future jiu-jitsu?
Well, when I first started, you know, I was pretty good. I was quite strong and I was quite nimble and, you know, being the scrapper that I was back in the day, you know, you had like a, you know, you could move your body in a certain way and you would, you know, I used to play rugby and football. So used to
Yeah.
physical activities. Obviously jiu-jitsu is completely different, but it wasn't completely alien. So I
Yeah.
competed actually. As soon as I got my gi, because I had to get a tailored gi made, I'd competed within 3 weeks and got choked out twice. But
Wow.
I wanted to do it. I thought, right, sorry, let's see what this is all about. Went to a competition in Milton Keynes, choked out twice,
Yep.
got a podium finish. But
Love
you
it.
know, it was a great experience, and then I thought, I want to get good at this. Do you know, I want to be the one choking. Do you know,
Yep.
it's not magic. It's time on the mat. It's paying attention. It's you
Yep.
know, and it's available. You know, jiu-jitsu for all is real. You can do it. You
Yeah.
just got to put the work in.
Yeah. What advice can you give anyone that hasn't already started training jiu-jitsu, that kind of inspiration and energy? You know, I mean, I love hearing the fact that within 3 weeks of getting your gi, you were in a competition. I mean, that pretty much on my books, Paul, that's the quickest to competing. But how can you inspire others to just get on and do this thing and just start learning, progressing, achieving whatever it is?
Um, the thing is, you know, it's daunting when you're sat on the side of the mat and then you're watching these big burly people throw each other around. And it looks aggressive and it can be aggressive, but it also can be really gentle.
Yeah.
So finding a place to train is so important. You know, the right place with the right atmosphere.
Yeah.
And you as an individual will feel that. You know, go and talk to the black belt, talk to the members.
Yeah.
Certainly, if you're over 40s, and you know you can speak. You know, if somebody comes into our gym, you know, I'll make sure that I go and say hello to them. And are they coming to train? Are they going to step on the mat? You know, so make sure you choose the right place,
Yeah.
and just give it a go. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Other than get choked out or
We,
blow an ACL.
well, exactly. I mean, we're not black belts yet, Paul, so we've got a long way to go. I feel like the more people I speak to, the more injuries that are kind of coming up. But there are ways to stay safe and look after ourselves. But that feeling and the intuition when you walk into a gym, you just know, or you don't know. I mean, you know that it's not right, and being able to choose. We've lived long enough, especially if you're in your 40s, to go. Some of this stuff really doesn't matter. If it doesn't feel right, turn on your heel, walk out of that
Yeah.
door, and find somewhere else, because there are so many jiu-jitsu gyms popping up, which we're all grateful for, to be able to train in so many different places.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of cross training.
Absolutely. We will talk about cross training in a second. This episode is sponsored by Keep Showing Up Clothing. This is about discipline. It always beats motivation. Get yourself a piece of what it takes to keep going in this sport and support yourself with that essential reminder to just keep showing up. That is the simple rule. Regardless of what's going on in your life, join the community that will enable your discipline to grow. Go and follow at keep_showing_up_clothing to get yourself represented. This is a Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett, coming to you from the UK. Go and check out all the video clips over on Instagram and YouTube, and subscribe, review, keep showing up, and keep listening and watching, because it really does help this show grow. Today, I'm having a conversation with Paul Skivington. So we briefly mentioned cross-training, Paul. How many times do you train a week? And so many different places. What's your kind of mix of training and locations?
So my home school is Invictus BJJ in Gillingham, Dorset, where I work away quite a lot. So I'm always travelling to Europe. So I train all over. But my home school, Invictus BJJ, if I'm home, I'll train 4 times a week, 5 times a week, depending on my work schedule. I've got a very accommodating wife and family, so I mean, she was a golfing widow, so you'd be gone all day. Jiu-jitsu is great because you're gone for a couple of hours. So for her, it's a win.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I train as much as I can, but I listen to my body as well.
Yeah.
If my back's bad, or I've been an amputee, I get bad back and my arm's not great. So I do listen to my body, and I will rest. And yeah, so I mean, I train as much as I can. I am literally obsessed with jiu-jitsu. I love it. Stepping on the mat is one of the greatest sort of feelings.
Yeah.
As much as I can.
I can feel that excitement with, just being able to have the ability to train jiu-jitsu and just, show up and just want to train. I don't think many of us have found any other sport or hobby that we want to do as much as jiu-jitsu. Maybe.
Golf was up there. I got obsessed with golf too.
Yeah.
But jiu-jitsu is, for me, it sort of ticks all the aggressive element, the physical element, the opponent element, and the beauty is you can spar at near 100% and tap, and it's over.
Yeah.
You're not getting punched in the face or getting concussion. But with good training partners, jiu-jitsu is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Let's go back to talk about when your children started training jiu-jitsu. Because obviously, being a jiu-jitsu parent, we have to kind of make sure the kids are safe, they're training, but then taking up the sport ourselves, or at the same time. How easy was it for you to find somewhere for your children to train?
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, the distance from my home to Yeovil, which is about 40 minutes, So I was doing that trip 3, 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And my kids, bless them, would come straight in from school, straight into the geese, straight in the car, and we were off. So that part was great. It was easy
Yeah.
because
Good.
I was starting from a position of having zero knowledge. So I found a jiu-jitsu school
Yeah.
and went to it. And, I was completely at the mercy of the coaching and.
Yes. So any previous martial arts in your history at all, Paul?
No, I did taekwondo as a child.
Yeah.
But no, I was mainly a footballer and a runner.
Nice. And so do you think coming to jiu-jitsu without any prior martial arts knowledge generally or experience is a good thing? Or, does it give its challenges, do you think?
No, I think actually just being there, because jiu-jitsu is so unique. You could have, we get black belts in karate and bouncers and boxers. Everybody comes in Muay Thai,
Yeah.
but jiu-jitsu is completely different. It doesn't matter, because as soon as you're on the ground, your previous martial arts experience means nothing.
Yeah.
So, obviously having the discipline to train and, going into a gym and all those things, that's obviously an advantage. But,
Yeah.
I think jiu-jitsu it's completely its own discipline. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what you know previously.
Good. I'm pleased that you said that, because I've gained so much from not having any previous martial arts experience. And I think that, might put some people off, but actually it's a great leveler. We come in with no knowledge of jiu-jitsu prior to jiu-jitsu, and we're all at the same starting point. We all find people that we can train with and kind of grow with in this sport,
Yeah.
which, aside from kind of meeting your first black belt or having your first black round with a black belt as a new white belt is rather daunting, but we all get over those situations.
Definitely.
Talk to me about winning the worlds, Paul.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough in 2023 to go out to Abu Dhabi and compete, where I came away with a silver. And then I thought, right, I'm going to go back again, and I went again last year, and had 2 matches and got 2 wins by submission.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a great experience. One of my goals now is to really try and promote Para Jiu Jitsu and try and get more competitions in the UK, have more opportunities, because going out to Abu Dhabi twice.
Yeah.
And the UK we've got 3 or 4 guys out there who are self-funding. And I was fortunate that I got sponsorship from a military charity, Blesma, and the Royal Engineers Association. But you get teams like from Brazil, and they'd be all there in the same kit, all sponsored, government sponsored as well. And I just think, we've got an MP, Will Stone, who's a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu from Swindon. So I've had a few messages with him, because what I want to do, there is a UK Para Jiu-Jitsu team, but we don't have the means to put a team to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Every other country has it, but we're lacking. And so we're a rich enough country. We should be able to support our athletes to go and compete on the world stage.
Yeah. That sounds incredible. Now, we spoke a bit about Blesma before we started recording, but you're doing quite a lot of work with Blesma. If you want to kind of expand on the acronym and talk to me about the work that you're doing to kind of raise the profile of, Para Jiu Jitsu.
So Blesma is the British Limbless Ex-Servicemen's Association. So, it's for soldiers who are amputees or blind. So they help you out. They're an absolutely fantastic charity. They really, really are. But what I've done is, now that I'm a brown belt, so I have some knowledge of jiu-jitsu, that I'm in a position to teach. And you know, so a few weeks back, I went up to Scunthorpe and taught a jiu-jitsu class for Blesma members.
Yeah.
And moving forwards, I'm going to hopefully go to each region and deliver some classes in jiu-jitsu, because for me, I've benefited firsthand from training jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
and I just think for amputees, it's great.
Yeah. I love the fact that you say you're a brown belt, and you know, you've kind of got a bit of knowledge now. That made me smile, because I'm feeling like, okay, a bit of knowledge. I'm way off brown belt, Paul, but I've got a little bit less than that bit of knowledge, and that's okay.
Well, let me tell you, the further you get, the less you know,
Oh my goodness.
and that's a fact.
My goodness. Um, how did it feel being promoted to brown belt whilst we're here?
Completely unexpected. Completely unexpected. I mean, obviously, very honoured.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it was amazing. So, you know, the third highest rank in our club. We've got 2 black belts and me.
Wow.
So, with that, obviously, is a huge responsibility on, you know, the promoting the core values of our club,
Yeah.
but also being somebody who sets the example to, you know, the lower ranks, to everybody in the club,
Yep.
about, you know, how to carry ourselves. So, you know, I turn up to every training session. I teach a
Yeah.
class. I teach a kids class, and I teach an adults class, and all of it is about, you know, when you're hammered, like hanging, you've got no cardio left.
Yep.
That's when it matters. You know, one of my mantras is cardio is king. It's no good. It's no good running out of gas 4 minutes into a 5 minute round.
Yep. Exactly. Okay, talk to me how you keep your cardio in such good shape, Paul.
Spinning,
Really?
spin bike. Yeah.
So what benefits? I've sat on a spin bike. It feels very uncomfortable to be sat there pedaling so fast. What is it about spinning that helps so much?
Well, do you know what's more uncomfortable than sitting on a spin bike? Getting choked out because you've run out of steam.
Got it.
Yeah. No. It's just, you know, if you think about. So, are you a blue belt now?
Yes.
Yeah, so you've now gone through a good progression, so you're probably using your energy more wisely. Um, yeah, so you're not going
Yep.
full steam for 5 minutes.
No.
So again, as you progress, you do less, but you achieve more.
Yep.
But when you get, you know, I'm 47, and I get one of our, you know, 30-year-old purple belts trying to pull my head off. You know, I've got to be able to keep moving for 5 minutes. So I like to, you know, spin 5-10 minutes max effort. You
Yep.
know, well, max effort. You know, 80%. So
Yep.
good, like zone 3. Yeah. So I spin all the time.
Nice. That I've not gone back to any spinning, but yeah, might you've sown the seed now, Paul. I feel like that might be in some of our cardio development going forwards.
Yeah. Everything for me has to complement jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Is it moving me closer to my goal or taking me further away from it?
That's a very
And
good question.
that's every decision I make with regards to physical fitness
Yeah.
and training. It's, am I getting closer or am I getting further away?
Nice. And is it just spinning that you do, or do you have any other kind of strengthening? I've heard people, I do know about strength and conditioning,
Yeah.
but is there anything else in that mix that kind of keeps you going?
Yeah. So obviously one of the benefits of COVID was I built a home gym. So I've got a home gym, and you know, I've got everything you would need to strength and conditioning. You know, so I've weights, kettlebells,
Yeah.
tire flippings, all this kind of stuff. You know, my training is very, very varied, and very
Yeah.
much how I'm feeling. I have to keep in mind my leg and my back, my left arm. So you know, I do something most days, but you know what I do. I don't follow a strict training plan. I just, you
Yeah.
know.
Listening
do
to your
something.
body, feeling the way forwards, and doing what works for you.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, that's good. I just want to kind of circle back to the, you're learning about speaking about the past, and how much, now you're coaching the kids' classes, and various other classes, and other athletes, that having that kind of mindset, the language, all becomes an intrinsic part of your kind of progress forwards. Um,
Yeah.
what what does the next year look like for you? Are you kind of lots of work to get back to Worlds again? What's coming up?
So hopefully, funding dependent, I'll be going out to Brazil next month to
Wow.
compete in their national Para Jiu Jitsu championships. Because I figure if I can go to Brazil and compete with
Yeah.
those guys, then
Yeah.
there's a level of authenticity there. And I'm going to the Worlds in November. I've got to try and defend my title. I want to compete at every level.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a brown belt now. I won it at purple belt. So yeah, I mean, just keep training, train with intention. Don't just go to the mats just to have it out. Go to the mats
Yeah.
thinking, right, I'm working on this today, or oh, I keep getting caught with this.
Yeah.
You know, so studying jiu-jitsu a bit more. Now I'm teaching. Sort of understand the moves better,
Yeah.
and being able to teach children as well. That gives you a whole new level of understanding of technique. So yeah,
Yep.
just learn more, become a better jiu-jitsu player, try and compete at the worlds,
Yeah.
and keep showing up.
Yeah. On your socials, it's literally one of your kind of taglines is keep showing up. Um,
Yeah.
do you keep showing up in every state if you really don't feel like training? I know you're kind of listening to your body, but do you have some kind of level of dedication that is that kind of balance between listening to your body and keeping showing up? Is there a middle space for you?
No, because discipline always beats motivation. So like if I'm like, I could be sat in the garden
Yeah.
thinking, oh, I can't be asked.
Yeah.
I'm sat on my hammock. I'm loving this. This is but no, I'm going to jiu-jitsu. Okay, if jiu-jitsu is scheduled in,
Yeah.
I'm going to jiu-jitsu. Short of being sick or having ringworm or something,
Yeah.
I'm going to jiu-jitsu.
Actually, one of the things that's just struck me is why some of us don't continue going to the gym, especially if we're just showing up and doing cardio or doing strength and conditioning at the gym, is because there aren't scheduled classes. And whilst there might be, extra things, jujitsu, it's a time and a place. You know that your mates are going to be there. You know that other people are going to be there. And even if they're not, you're still showing up and training and learning. And I think those of us that like routine, jujitsu becomes very easy way to continue our commitment to learn and grow. Um, have you got anything else to add, Paul, that we haven't spoken about?
Um, no, just kind of following on from there. If you love jujitsu like I do, I actually love jujitsu. So I love stepping on the mats. I love the whole thing. I love getting choked out. It's, and the whole experience I love. It's not like sometimes I've got a spin class and I really can't be bothered.
Yeah.
That's when I am disciplined because, I've got to get it done. But with jiu-jitsu, I love the drive there, get my
Yeah.
music on, the windows open, turn up to jiu-jitsu, get on the mat, say hello to everybody. That whole
Yeah.
experience, that sort of 2.5 hour experience is amazing. But
Yeah.
the other stuff, the weights and the spinning, that's boring. But it's got to be done if you want to
Yep.
be if you want to get better.
Yeah.
If,
Yeah.
fitness, strength is important.
Yeah. It's like you're saying that every decision you're making is contributing to your progress in jujitsu. And if it's not, then you're not doing it.
Exactly. And I mean, I used to love having a beer. Now I've not touched a drop of alcohol for 2 years,
Yeah.
purely because we finished a summer holiday, and I said to my wife, "Right, I'm going to the Worlds in November. I'm not
Yeah.
drinking." and that's just continued. And I
Yeah.
think now, I'm alcohol free, probably for good. And that's because of jiu-jitsu, because I want
Yeah.
to be a better better jiu-jitsu player.
Yeah.
And is having a beer taking me further away or moving me closer to my goals? And it's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. There are so many positives out of jiu-jitsu. I just want to stand up and do a I was going to say Mexican wave. No, we do a Brazilian wave. Not sure what that is. Probably something I shouldn't be mentioning. Anyway, it's you've got such a story and so much more to kind of give, and I can't wait to see more jiu-jitsu from you. And just I love seeing how kind of not exhausted you are after your training, but the fact that you've given everything. And I think you're an inspiration to those of us that don't quite give everything during training. We can, and do have that ability. Maybe we just need to take a leaf out of your book, Paul, and just give a bit more.
Well, I mean, don't be hard on yourself. I always film that video. I call it my post-jits dit.
Yeah.
I always film it as soon as my last round's finished. So we always finish with 3 rounds of sparring.
Yeah.
Full on open mat, only for 3 rounds. So every session, as soon as it's done, and normally, I've got some 25-year-old, or I've got one of our competition 17-year-old who wants to choke the life out of me. So, I'm trying to keep up with the youngsters.
Yeah. And I think it keeps us young at heart. There's always so many more younger people to train with, whatever age you are.
Exactly.
Just kind of pushing those limits, and anything's possible, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Paul, if people haven't seen these videos and kind of reels that you share after those 3 intense rounds, how can people watch and follow your journey?
Yeah, so I'm Legless9 on all social media.
Amazing. Now, before we started recording, I asked you why 9. Please explain so that everybody else knows.
Yeah, so when I was in the army, my unit was 9 Parachute Squadron Royal Engineers. So 9 Para Squadron.
Fabulous. Thank you for explaining that. Because sometimes, things we don't understand, but there are no silly questions. If you don't ask a question, you never grow your learning and understanding. And, if you don't ask, well, you're not even in for a shot. And I want to thank you, because I asked you to come on the show and I was desperate to understand and kind of learn and kind of, appreciate your drive and determination for doing exactly what you're doing. So thank you for your time. It is a hot day. We're going to go and find some air conditioning and some ice water and go from there. Anyway, Paul, thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you very much, Lou.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for telling your friends about this show. And as soon as this episode ends, I'd really appreciate you dropping the show a rating and a review. Thanks again for listening. Catch you on the next episode of the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast.